So why do you think he did that? If it makes no sense, why did he do that?
I can't make heads or tails of it other than this idea that they are doing good by putting kids into the back to their families or reuniting, because there's this facade that they're all here for the right reasons, and we can't make any heads or tails of it. That's the very troubling part, because it doesn't make any sense to any reasonable or prudent person. Because if we're about protecting the kids, you want to make sure you do everything right and by the book. But by not charging them, and when we have 70% of the sponsorship applications have fraud in them, do you think the information we're going to get is accurate 100 days later when we go to send a notice to appear or go knock on an address and realize it's an empty lot in Austin, Texas? Or it's just so these are the things.
Is that the kind of thing that you're talking about when you say, when you catch up and you've been given an address, for example, where a kid
Yep.
is, and you show up and there's nothing
Yeah,
there?
that's literally what happens in many of these cases. Or we go there and we find 25 kids there that have been sponsored there and the paperwork's not there. It was
And who are these sponsors? Are the sponsors American citizens or are they also people here illegally?
Most of them are going to be non-citizens, whether here illegally or on visas. There are some citizenship sponsors. And I guess I should break it down that there's really four categories that we look at from the Office of Refugee Resettlement. One is obviously the best would be the parent or legal guardian. The second sponsor is an adult relative. The third would be an unrelated adult. That would be like if you and I wanted to sponsor a child. And then the fourth is an Office of Refugee Resettlement foster care setup. So when these family members, especially these category 1 or 2, sponsor, I mean, that's where the fraud begins, because so many of them are here illegally or in violation of their immigration status, and they don't give the right information. They're using fraud documents, bad addresses, just terribly photoshopped documents. They ended biometric DNA testing for family units under the last administration, minimized or almost eliminated fingerprints. If you claim to be a sponsor of a child, shouldn't we at least check your criminal background and make sure that you're not a known sex trafficker or offender or abuser? These are the things that
Listen,
just make common sense that we're just throwing out the door.
yes.